Okay, so it's the next day. This is after the battle. Everyone's gone home. Um, how did it go? Pretty shitty for the Orks. Yay, Orks. So you'll notice that my Stampa here is in the same exact spot that it was before. It's because somebody got immobilized. And one of the gayest things ever in Warhammer 40k is that you can do a thing called strategic redeployment. Now, this is my least favorite rule of all time, for a couple reasons. One, because it makes zero sense, and two, because it's overpowered as balls. And I go out of my way to never pick strategic redeployment. However, not everyone feels that way, obviously. So what strategic redeployment is, for those of you who don't know, is you can just take your whole army and move it anywhere in the entire battlefield that you want to in one turn. All of it. As long as no part of that movement takes place within 12 inches of an enemy model. Which means, in the case of this L-shaped board thing, you'll notice that he deployed here, and then completely shifted his army here. Now, that's really cool, and that's really smart. But I got my butt kicked so hard because of it that I'm kind of unhappy about it. I'm not afraid to say that I'm a poor sport sometimes, and that made me a poor sport. Anyway, I do want to talk for a second about the massive Death Star that is the the battle fortress. You'll notice in the first video it was here. Now it's here. Now, one awful thing about super heavy vehicles is that they only move 6 inches a turn. 6. Okay, about what? Hey. Anyway, they only move 6 inches in a turn. Just 6. Not only that, but all my super heavy apocalypse stuff kept getting drive damage. So my walker got 2 drive damage results, got immobilized. This thing got some drive damage results. Took its movement from a mighty 6 down to the ever amazing 3. 3 inches a turn. Can never move flat out. Gay. So Gazcool and friends, which by the way, there's over like 1,500 points. This is like a fifth of my army. Easily. And it's just like it's just not happening. Now, you may be wondering, how am I going to make it through this mountain? You can actually flatten terrain as long as it's within the realm of reason that it could do this. And I definitely think that this thing could like flatten part of a mountain quite easily. Especially if it's moving fucking only 6 inches a turn, gay. Anyway, but what ended up happening was all my vehicles that were making it hodgepodge over here. Like it would be a couple vehicles at a time. And it just gunned them down with his awesome gun line. Now, I'm not going to lie. This is kind of exactly what I imagine when I imagine Space Marines like in a gun line. Like, this is it. And he had some guys up here, some Devastators. I shot them down though. And then, by the way, and inside each of these Land Raiders is another tac squad. So like, this is what I imagine, and this is what I imagine when Orks are going to war. Like, however, and like 3 more Ork vehicles were like leading this charge, and they all individually died because they were all individually in the lead, and they went up against this. Now, my Stampa, another giant part of my army that didn't get to be utilized. I mean, kudos to the brilliant tactics of Connor McCutcheon, who did this. But at the same time, my Stampa, who I have painted, and this is his 3rd game ever, did awesome in the beginning. When his army was there, we did copious amounts of damage. But my Stampa, it did, the Psycho Dacablasta was awesome. Okay, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Psycho Dacablasta, it's this gun right here. It's actually a Super Gatler. The Psycho Dacablasta is lovely. Anyway, but what it does is you can just shoot that gun until it jams. In one turn, it fired, I think, easily 60 to 70 shots in one turn. It was awesome. Now, one rule about it that I never caught before is that on the second and subsequent rolls, if you roll doubles. So the first roll, every time I'd ever use that damn thing before this one, it jammed on the first roll because, you know, that's how our brain works. We're like, oh god, don't jab, and then you roll doubles. It said, and then you roll doubles. And then all of a sudden now you can't shoot it anymore. You're like, gay, this is awful. But, since reading that rule on second and subsequent rolls, now, it's freaking awesome. Shoot that thing all day. I had a Big Mac in there, and he repaired the initial drive damage to it, and then when this got immobilized, he was all like, better go fix it, so he's walking over there, and he had 3 Storm Talons at the time, and they all just went over there, zoomed over, and just shot him in the face. And being toughness 4, 1 last cannon is all it takes. So, that was lame. I did get ridiculously lucky with killing the Storm Talons, though. Big shooters and Twin Link rockets brought him down. Like, that is some difficult stuff. My Jet didn't get to do so hot. That's kind of hard to see. My Jet didn't get to do so hot because of all the enemy flyers in the area. My favorite stratagem is always scheduled bombardment. It did okay. It killed a predator. That's it. It killed a predator. Never taken long range ack again. I knew he was going to bring a lot of air because that's what he likes to do sometimes. And air is freaking amazing in Apocalypse. This is like where they belong. Anyway, so I knew that he was going to bring some flyers, so I took long range ack. That is, I didn't really read it too much. I'm not going to lie, it's kind of my fault. I was like, well, you know, he's going to be taking flyers, and this is anti-flyer, so how bad could it be? That was awful. Long range ack, for those of you who don't know, is you can choose to block 1 enemy flyer from entering a turn. Now, I kind of just read that, and I saw that he could force his way through it, and like he would take damage. I thought the damage would be something like to fear. No. It's 3 strength 8 AP3 shots. Okay. If you're rocking a flyer that can't handle 3 strength 8 AP3 shots that you want to block, like, then you don't need to block it. Like, you've got enough firepower on the board that can handle it anyway. So naturally, I've tried to block a Storm Raven, and then he tried to force his way through it, and with armor value 12, it was like, lol, don't care. And that was that. Like, ugh. That irks the bejesus out of me. You don't even know. But, anyway, it was a fun game at the end of the day. It's not fun to move 200 orcs to their death. I think that's kind of why I'm kind of spiteful about it, is because, like, I had all these orcs and I was so freaking pumped. And then it turned into a moving into the kill zone fest. You know, we only rocked it for 7 turns, so if I'd been more patient, if I'd had time, what I would have obviously done was regrouped here and got my whole army back together and then gone in and just crushed them. But since we only had 7 turns, I didn't have time to do that. I mean, everybody needed to be moving as fast as possible. And when you have 500 points of orcs versus 5,000 points of Space Marines, it's kind of obvious who's going to win. So we called it, and it was a good time. At the end of the day, what do I take away from this? A new house rule of no strategic deployment ever. And I know that sounds stubborn and lame, but it makes no sense. Like, that rule, if I'd taken it, he would have lost. If I'd taken it too, because I could have just been like, bam, deployed right here. He's like, oh, strategically redeploy. And I'm like, I strategically redeploy. And then it's just ruined. Whoever put that rule in the rule book, screw you. Seriously, man. You don't even know. None of the other stratagems are anywhere near as good. Tunnels is the next best thing, and it's only because, again, it allows you to move massive amounts of infantry. Anyway, I'm upset. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed at least the eye candy, and thanks for watching.